Okay everyone, welcome back to the Final Fantasy X Unit Only channel. We are finally on the boss Spherimorph, and to show you where I am at, I have finally reached Holy on the Sphere Grid. Now, we're not going to use it for this boss, it was just that we were doing that because the Macalonia Woods is the best place to level for that before getting to a fight where we do need it, so I'm not going to be using it for this fight. What I'm going to do is cast Protect on Yuna. That's the first thing. We'll have Lulu and someone else kill themselves. And again, this is just because I don't like dealing with them. We could also cast Shell, but I'm not gonna do that because it's not gonna be terribly important the way we're doing this. Now, the order you want to do this is you want to start off with a non-elemental weapon like our normal Stone Strike or Stone Touch weapon that we have here. I'm just going to attack here. Now, when I attack, dink, he will counter with his element type, water. That is excellent. So, now I'll have... Orange's fine to kill himself. You want to attack it with non-elemental weapons until you can get it to an element that you are immune to. Now, you can see I'm taking damage from water, but that's only until I get to that critical status. So, basically, this fight is... I'm not going to say this fight is done, but basically, we're in a very good position already to complete this fight properly. Now, if you don't have all the elemental strike weapons, what you can do is just reset the game until he happens to start the game on an element that you do like, and so on and so forth. Now, if it's not an elemental, if he's not an element that you are resistant to, like this water, which I'm going to become immune to once I reach critical status, then what you want to do is you want to attack it with a weapon of the opposing element. So right now he's a water. I would be able to hit him with a lightning strike weapon, which would then force him to change his element. Or if you're playing with Lulu, you just use a spell of the opposing element. Either way is fine. So, and what I'm going to do here is just continue to attack it with this non-elemental weapon here. I do have it using this Stone Touch one because of the evade and counter. That's going to make it very, very difficult for him to hit us. So, and again, the elements, when you force him to change elements, it's not a set pattern like some of the bosses and other mobs in the game. So you want to be just aware of that. If you do have all 4 elemental strike weapons, you can try to make the game go a little bit faster by using those type of weapons. Because I would do about a time and a half what I'm doing now with that. It's just with that immunity to water, I want it to stay on water, so I'm just going to continue to attack. If I were to cast a holy spell at it, it will absorb that, so just be aware of that if you're ever doing a unit-only challenge where you get someone else to holy by this point in the game. So, and it does absorb the 3 elements besides the one that is weak to. So, right now it's a water-based creature, so it would absorb fire, water, and ice, and it's weak to lightning at this moment. So again, if you do hit it with an attack or a spell of the opposing element, including Kamari's overdrives, by the way, he has a fire breath and a water breath that you can use this on too, then he will switch those elements up, so, but you can do it a little bit faster if you do have all of the elemental strike weapons. So, that's about it for the strategy of this boss. We're just going to keep attacking it until it dies. Now, you can see now I'm at critical status, so when it casts water here, it should be immune. You can see that. There you go. You can see that little blue orb spinning around me. That's the same kind of orb as if she had cast that spell, the Null Tide spell, but it's absorbing right now. So that's also something to keep in mind. If you remember back in Luca, we were farming for high potions and X potions. If at that point you do pick up some SOS Null armors, like the Null Tide or the SOS Null Blaze or whatever, it is helpful to hang on to those because of this point, and for other points as well, but mainly for this point. So that's that there saves me the trouble of doing that. I don't even know what I'm talking about now. So, yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing this. He is immune to sensors, so there's no point in having a sensor-type weapon on, and there's no point in using Kimari's scan ability, those are useless. I believe this boss has 12,000 HP, I could be mistaken on that. So, what else shall I talk about while we continue to do this? Thanks to all of the farming, we are just short of 600,000 gil at this point in the game, which is more than we're going to need for anything up until we buy a 4-slot armor. Or weapon, whatever. So, we're about done with that. The last level that I did was just over 20,000 experience, so that is, that's why it takes so long, because you're doing it in the Makalani Woods for between 500 and 1,000 experience per battle. So it is kind of a long process there as well. Definitely not as long, though, as when we were farming up for the reflect ability right before the Sinspawn Gooey fight. So, now I do want you to think about that, though. If you remember at the start of the game, in one of my early on videos, I said that you can do the fight on the boat between Besaid and Kilika with Yuna only, if you level all the way to the Holy ability in the Sphere Grid while you're still on Besaid. But if you think about the math there, that last level was like 21,000 experience points, AP, however you want to look at it, where on Besaid Island you're getting 4 to 6 AP or experience points per battle. So I'm sure someone will do the math for me and post it in the comments section, but wow, that would take a long time. So yeah, and I don't know how many levels there are, so you would have to add that as well. You could do battles per level at that point, and then divide it by the number of levels, or multiply it by the number of levels, but the experience goes, I don't know. It's all confusing, so anyway, this fight is going to take me a little while longer. After this fight, you have the option to return to all the way back to Besaid Island if you do want to hoof it back there. I'm going to do a little bit of that because I do want to learn a couple of orange overdrives on the way before we lose Yuna again. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. If you do want a guide on how to do that and where to find those things that you need to level up his overdrive, again, if you remember near the start of my walkthrough, I mentioned a guy named Cyric1983, and I linked to his walkthroughs for this game. And if you look on that one at the right video, then you can find all of those things that you need to level up Orin's overdrive abilities, or to obtain them, except for the one that we will be getting later on. So go back, get at least numbers 2 and 3. Well, you'll get number 2 for this, and then if you want, go get back and get the rest of those, and that's fine. The reason, though, that you want to do that, though, is because we can go back after this fight, but once we get to the Makalania Temple, that's it. You're not going to be able to go back anymore. So you want to go back before you reach Makalania Temple, and it may even be before you get to the fight in the Makalania Lake, the one with the Machina. So basically, if you do want to go back and get all of Orin's stuff for his overdrives, I would say do it right after this fight, because your window of opportunity is almost closed here. The next chance you will have to do this is going to be much later in the game, after quite a few events, and on top of that, having Orin's overdrive is going to be, the shooting star one is going to be pretty critical for a lot of the time when Yuna is gone, since the bosses are now, or not even the bosses, but the normal trash is getting pretty hefty. So anyway, I'm going to finish up this fight and then post this video to YouTube, so that's gonna be about it for this one, and I will catch you guys for that next fight, that Machina fight.